Good morning, friends. Hello. Hello, hello. How are you this morning? Great to see you. We are having a little mug up, little hard rock in your cafe. In your cafe. So good. Glad you're here. We have, as you may know, we take about 3 minutes to let folks come online and all that and say hello to each other. Good morning, Yvette. Vicky, how are you? I'm literally waiting for the doctor to come in. Oh, prayers to you and to your doctor. I hope that all is well and good. How is everybody holding you up? Hey, Kim. So good to see you. It's like you're like a with your little son there. That's like you're literally a beam of sunshine right now. That's I'm so psyched that you're here. Thank you. Good to see you. We'll mug up to that. Good morning, everybody. Folks coming along. How are you? I feel like this week is the first where it really started to feel like this late fall crunchy crunch wintry thing. It's not quite there yet, but it was 36 when I came out of the house this morning, and it has that feel. So I have to. Hey, Sharon, good morning to you. I hope you're grand. Hope you're well. Karen, good morning. How are you? You've been on my heart with all the with the all that you guys are carrying these days and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, hope you're doing well. I was just cleaning out and I actually came across a card you sent. I was very touched by it, so I wanted to say thank you for that. I have zero organizational skills, so the gift of that is that you get to discover things 3 or 4 times before they finally find their way out. So that's kind of my desk is a little like a archaeological shell midden gift. So anyway, it's a thing that happens, but it gives me the opportunity to encounter people again and again in different gifts in different ways. So thank you for that. Good morning, John. Great. Just to check up. Good news. Good. Always good to get the nose and toes checked. Very good. Welcome, everybody. It is this morning, the 16th day of November. We're in the middle of November, gang. We're 6 weeks out to 2022. Are you tracking that? Like, I'm not tracking that. I think it's like the last half of 2019, and then I took a long nap or something. I mean, this is not to say this hasn't been a time, but holy smokes, here we are, 6 weeks to 2022. Did you ever think? Here we are. So this morning, I want to offer us. I want to invite you to give up. That's my invitation to you this morning is to give up. And we're doing a Bible study right now in the book of James, and which is just proving to be more and more brilliant all the time. Like it's always been a brilliant book, but and there's this one line that I just wanted to pull out. So you might hear a little more about James in the future here, but and he says this. It's from the 4th chapter, and he says, "Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." And this is one verse, and I like to think of it as one thought too. And even though it seems like two things, right? It seems like this different thing. Submit yourself, therefore, to God, and resist the devil, and he will flee from you. I think this notion of submitting ourselves to God, that we think about this as like, we lay on our back like a puppy and we just wait for God to come by and give us belly rubs or something. That there's somehow this passive action in submitting ourselves to God. And I would submit to you that, submit to you, that I would say that is actually quite the opposite. That in fact, submitting ourselves to God, that is a really active thing in which we have to be engaged to and engaged with. That there's this when when Phil Jackson is the coach of the Lakers. He's a famous coach. In 2006, he was coaching them, and he had a bad hip. And if you know anything about Phil Jackson's coaching style, it is exuberant. Like he was on the sidelines, yelling, hollering, getting people going. Like he's a fired up guy, and he was scared because he had come to this point where he had to have hip surgery. Like he had put it off and put it off and put it off. He had ignored what was going on for a long time. Finally, he decides to have the hip surgery. Finally, he decides that he's going to submit to it, and he has the hip surgery, and it doesn't allow him to pace the side of the court anymore. And in fact, what it is, he has this specially designed chair that he has to sit in that's actually a little elevated above the bench and behind the bench of the players, is where he ends up coaching from. And he's really worried about this, that it's going to change his coaching style. He's not going to be as effective. But what happened is that he actually turned out to be far more effective. That instead of screaming and hollering and waving his hands on the sidelines, that his little elevated chair allowed him to see his players better, and also allowed him to engage with his players better and get the desired result, get them to do the things he wanted them to do better from the vantage point. But that only happened because he submitted to the truth of what was going on. He submitted to the fact that he had to have his hip done. He had to do the thing that was in front of him, but he tried for a long time to do it the other way. He tried to ignore the thing that he could not control. And this is the whole thing, is it really is about the understanding about the things that we can control and the things that we can't control. When we say, submit yourself, therefore, to God, we're saying, offer up all the things that you look at something in your life. Can I do anything about this truth, this fact? If it is unmovable, if it is something that your life, you cannot affect in your life, then submit that to God. Then give that up. Stop trying to change the things that you can't change. Stop trying to scale the mountains that are not actually mountains, but are in fact brick walls. It's one of our. We don't want to do this because there's a temptation in it. There's all kinds of temptation. This is why when James says, submit yourself to God, and therefore, and then the devil will flee from you, and in the resistance of the devil, because in the act of submitting yourself to the truth of your life, the truth of what's going on right in front of you, the truth of and I'm not saying there aren't mountains to climb. Don't hear me saying that you need to lay down and just give up. It's quite the opposite. But it is to look at our lives with this incredibly hard eye and move our abilities and our energies and our skills and our desires to move into the places that we can do something about it, and give up all the places where we can't. Give up all the stuff that simply cannot be moved by your wanting, your desiring, your wishing. None of that can take hold. Phil Jackson didn't want to be a coach that sat in a big chair like some sort of, but he ended up getting benefits from that. One of the great things I took from the book, "The Obstacle is the Way," is this notion of traffic signals in life. Sometimes we're given, if we walk through the world and we believed that every traffic signal we got, for instance, if we came to a stop sign, or we came to a red light, or we came to a construction barrier and had to take a detour, if we took those personally, if we took those like that is that's your fault that you came up to the stop sign. Like, how stupid are you? You came to a stop sign. That's dumb. Like, you're stupid. You're a horrible driver for coming up to a stop sign. Like, that's madness, right? Like, that's madness. That's crazy town talk. And yet, I think we do this to ourselves all the time. That we're trying to, that God is giving us signals. God's giving us the stop signs. God's giving us detours. God's giving us the construction barrier that says we have to go left or right, or from the direction that we feel called we need to go, or we want to go. And all of a sudden, we think we're somehow persecuted by God. And this is, again, this resistance of the devil, because it hits us right in our little victimhood place. It hits us right in the little oh, it could have been better, could have been better. One of the great masters of this was Helen Keller. Like, Helen Keller is born deaf, born blind, and learns 5 languages, learns to speak, spends 0 time in the course of her life as she begins to develop in the sense of dealing with all the things that she couldn't affect, that she couldn't bring back her sight, she couldn't teach herself to hear, she couldn't have the faculties that most people had. And yet she dedicated her life to working on all the stuff that she could. And she has more degrees than any of us talking about here. She could speak more languages than any of us. She could be a part. She could understand and read. She could write brilliantly, more than most of us. That in fact everything that she did was because she dedicated herself, and she didn't fall into the trap of, well, things could be better. They could be better. Whenever you hear yourself, whenever you get you have this loss, like you lose something, or again, you come up to that traffic signal and you start to take it personally. You think like, oh, this stop sign, God's put the stop sign in my way, and now, because God hates me, whatever. That maybe there's a gift in it. Maybe there's, just like Phil Jackson's poor hip, maybe there's a gift on the other side of that. Maybe there's peril you're being prevented from. And so one of the methods that you can use for this is when we come up against these things that say, how much better it could have been if only, this had happened. If only Mom had loved me more, Dad had loved me more. If only this had happened. If only that had happened. If we spend our time in the if-onlys of life, again, this is the resistance to the devil that James is talking about. When we submit ourselves, when we say, yeah, I'm at a stop sign and I can't go forward right now, or but this is something in my life that is incontestable, and it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered. It's beyond my power to change and alter. And we say, how much better it could have been if that hadn't happened. Why don't we just say how much worse it could be? Just offer yourself up that notion, Oh my gosh, I lost my car keys. Well, did you lose a limb? Oh my gosh, I'm stuck in traffic. Well, are you, stuck in lava? Like, that this notion of, I always love the lava game, the Flores lava game. It's one of my favorites. Sorry. But this notion that we're in this place where somehow, some way, it should have been better for us. When actually, when we submit ourselves to the truth of the world, when we give up, try expending even a calorie of energy, even an iota of energy on the things that we cannot move, on the stop signs, on the construction barriers, and we stop taking them personally. We stop taking them like there's something that was done to us, and we simply play the cards of our life as they are arrayed. We simply work with the hand that we are dealt, with that which we have, that which we can affect. We become powerful beyond measure. And the devil goes running from us. All those things that would afflict us, when we step into action, when we step into movement, when we step into the place that power and energy and everything gets generated, the devil has no part in that. Because we're coming out of a place of submission to God, of submission to what is, to submission to the really real. So my invitation to you today in this 11:11 is just to give up. Give up. if you're take a hard look at your life, and I mean a hard look, and if there's a thing in there's a thing in your life that you keep breaking yourself on because you think you should be able to change it, or it needs to change, or it should be better, or you should be better, or something like that, stop. Just stop. Take it as a stop sign and just stop. And then start looking at and don't give up on the thing that you want, or don't give up on the call, but then start looking at, given this limitation, given this truth, given this reality, what then might I do? What then might I be able to come? Thomas Jefferson was one of the worst public speakers ever alive, but he always, 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 always wanted a career in politics. He gained a career in politics. He became a great politician, if there's such a thing. But he became the one who wrote one of the most critical documents on the planet in writing the United States Constitution. Oh, by the way, almost writing it in only one draft, like with one draft with revisions. He does this because he realizes he's never going to be a speaker. He realizes he's never going to have a talent for oratory the way that Adams and Hay and all these other people and Dickinson did all around him. He'd never be one of those. But what he realized is he could write. What he realized is he could string words together with a pen better than any of his peers, and so he developed that. He developed that as his way of moving into the realm in which he wanted to roam, in which he felt called by God to move into. He didn't give up on his dreams. He didn't give up on that which he was called to. He gave up on the fact that he was smashing himself against a talent that he didn't have. Friends, give up smashing yourself against something that you don't have in your life, or something that isn't going to move, or something that isn't going to change, or something that you want to be better than or other than it is, a loss that you just wish would somehow be repaired that isn't going to be repaired. Give up all of that and submit it to God. Give it. Write an invoice to God and say, here, this is yours to pay. Like, you figure this one out. Like, I want no more of it. And then come back to the songs of your heart. Come back to the things that will aliven you. Come back to the things that will bring you to life, and see where you can take action around those things. Where you can take action to move towards it. Where you have agency in your life. Where you can move into the grace and the love. Give up the stuff that isn't going to move. God isn't sending you stop signs. God isn't sending you detours. God isn't sending you yellow lights because God hates you, because he's mean and capricious and horrible. But it's giving you these things to navigate you through this world, to encourage you to take a path you would never otherwise take path. And in doing so, bring forth the gifts and the genius that is lying down a different path that you'd never take on your own. That's the gift. That's the devil running from you. That's my hope for you, honestly. It's my hope for you. Because there's sweetness in that life. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying anything I'm suggesting today is easy. But there is sweetness in it. In the submission, in the giving up of the things that you can't control, of the giving up of the things that you can't affect, and moving and spending your life, spending the energy of your days, changing and moving and rocking the things that you have some agency that God has given you to do with. Maybe things that can always be better, but things can always be worse. And so I invite you, friends, I invite you today to give up, and say, how is it that I can submit to God, resist the devil, and let him flee from me? so that love and grace and peace and joy can reign in your life by the movement and action of your days. Okay, friends, that's my hope for you today. I hope I hope that you have a great day today. I hope that you rock it. I hope that much goodness. We have a concert coming up on Friday, another organ concert. I hope if you're in the area, I hope you'll take part. It is becoming a beautiful tradition around here, and there's healing in that music. With all of this, I hope you have a great day. Let me just see who else came in. Hi, Bonnie. Good to see you. Amy, great to see you. It's like I just saw you. Donna, good morning to you. Jamie, how are you? Good to see you. Rosalia, oh, molto bene. So, Don, Vicky, I surrendered. Good. All right. Good work. Great to see everybody. Have a great day. And I will see you tomorrow with another 11:11. Peace and grace, all.